Hello and welcome. This is the Asylum, and I've got something special for you today. We've discovered something new in the world of Japanese sum settings. We've found a way to set Penpa-style clues in CTC software. Now, I've always preferred to set in Penpa because you can distinguish which color is which by setting blocks of colors, and also because the clues are all vertical and all above the grid or perfectly horizontal across the grid to the left. I think it's much cleaner and it's easier to do. It's also, when you do an F-puzzle style multicolor like this one, we have to have some weird rules like, well, it's the color of the clue except if it's a certain other color, in this case blue. In that case, both colors must be present somewhere, but we can't tell you exactly where. And that was because of a limitation we had of putting in F-puzzles using a cosmetic text. Notice also that all of the text is tilted at an angle, a 30-degree angle. That's because we've got some really long clues, like up here, that just barely fit on the screen if we tilt them like that. But there's a better way, and I'm going to show you how. What we're going to do, I'm going to show you how by taking this F-puzzles multicolored puzzle that I set called Sheep Bites, and I'm going to translate it into a Penpa-style F-puzzles puzzle for CTC. And we're going to see how we do that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to see which is the largest number of clues outside the grid we have in any row or column. In this case, it's 5. We've got 5 clues here. 6, 4, 5, 2, and 8. Or 28, rather. 6, 4, 4, 2, and 28. So we got 5 clues outside the grid. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here to F-puzzles, and we're going to say New Grid. And we're going to add those 5 cells to our grid size. And we'll create a 14 by 14. Now, we're going to turn this 14 by 14 into a 9 by 9. The first thing we need to do is to create our regions. So let's create a region here, so that we have all of our boxes, and use different numbers so that the conflict checker, when we finally figure out what the other problem is, works again. It won't be confused about which region is which. I had the conflict checker working, but spoiler alert, it's not quite working right now. With this, well, it's when I got the solution checker working, I didn't get the conflict checker working, but we will. So now we've defined those. Let's go ahead and, just for safety, take and define all of the rest of the remaining cells. Oops, not you. Let's define this as 10. Just so it's a different region entirely and everything's okay. So now we've got our region set up. Now, we have a whole bunch of extra cells outside this grid. We don't want that. We want just enough cells to show what our clues are. So what we're going to do, we're going to blank out all of the cells. Now to do that, we're going to use the cosmetic tool rectangle. We're going to set its base and its outline to pure white. And then we're going to set its height and width. Now, its width, when we do the left, first we're going to do the left side. When we do the left side, we're going to set its width to 90 and its height to 105, or 110 rather. What that's going to do is when we click and we should add this in placement cell. And so when we add it, you see that when we have that particular set, we cover up both ends of the grid outside. So that means if we don't have a clue here, we're not going to see the ugly lines. Now, it's not necessary to do all of these if you know you've got clues. If you've got clues, it's only necessary to do the border that you know you don't have clues in, because otherwise you're just going to fill them with the clue cells, and they're going to be a different size. But once you've filled in all the places where there's not going to be any clues, say this was a blank row, and this was a blank row. Well, now we've got these as blank rows. Okay? We've got clues all the way up here and clues all the way up here, so we don't have to worry about that. We're now, let's say we've got clues, however, so that's how you do the ones on the left, is you set them to 0.9 on width and 1.1 on height. That clears the bottom edge and makes sure that we still have a pretty wide edge on our edge of our grid. Now, we do the same thing across the top of the grid, except we reverse them. We make our width 1.5 and we make our height 0.90. And we can then see, we can blank out cells and clear out everything and still leave a nice thick border along the edge. Now, once you've entered in all of the places where there's going to be no clues at all on that row, we're now going to clear out the rest of this grid. So we go back into the rectangle thing, and now we're going to set both of these to 110. And then we're going to go to every other cell, and we're just going to, undo that. We're going to remove every other cell. Now, these cells we assumed were going to be colored clues, and they are going to be, but now we're going to just remove all of the other cells by adding a rectangle to all of them. It's a little tedious, but it doesn't take that long. So now we've got this cleaned up. We're ready to input our colored cells. So now what we do to put our colored cells in is we come over here to the rectangle again, and then we're going to choose the color we want. Well, let's put in all of the black cells right now. So what we want to do is we want to set our width and our height to 1 exactly. And then we set both our base and our outline to 0, 0, 0. Now let's put in all those clues. We've got one clue on the bottom row. And remember, if we have a cell there, if there's a cell already there, we have to remove it first. So if we were going to put another, we'll see that in just a second. So we now add this. There are 3 clues here. So we first remove the white cell that we put there, and then we put in a new cell. First remove the white cell, and then put in a new cell. Sometimes you won't see anything because the other cells are covering it up. But you are removing a cell, and then removing a rectangle, then adding a new one. So then we have 3 on the next one. Now you see the border there? We've got 3 on the next one. We've got 1 on this one. We've got 1 here. We got a red cell here, and then we've got a black cell there. We've got a red cell here, or a black cell here, a black cell here, a red cell here, a black cell here, and a black cell here. Here we've got a black cell, a red cell, a black cell. And the top, we got a black, and a black. Now, let's do the top. There are 4 on this one, so 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 on the next one. Just 1 on this one. And then there are one, a red, a black, a red, a black. And then there's a black, a red, a black, a black, a red, a black, a red, a black, a black, 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 and then 4 more blacks. Black, 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 black. Now let's do the reds. Again, we go back into our cosmetic rectangle and we just change the base to red and the outline to red. And then we add in our reds. We've got a red cell here, we've got a red cell here, and we've got a red cell here. Over here, we've got a red cell here, and a red cell here, and we've got a red cell here, and here, and here, and that's all the red cells. So now we've added all the clues bases. So now we know what color the clues are and where they are. Now we're going to add the values. To do that, we're going to use the cosmetic text tool. Place mode cell. We want size of 0.70. And we want our text to be white. Now we want 0.70 because that gives us just enough room to put a large digit, a double-digit number, and a single large uppercase letter. The reason we want to put an uppercase letter is because we're trying to also make these puzzles colorblind friendly. We're trying to take that step forward and make these colorblind friendly, so we're going to try to add color codes to our clues. So let's go ahead and code this up. This is 6 black. This is 4 black, 21 black, 6 black, and 3 black. Now, we've entered all of our clues. Look at that. That's looking pretty good. That is looking pretty good. So now the next thing we want to do, of course, is we'd add rules and our name. But let's check out. We're not interested in adding all that right now. We've done most of the work now, but we still got a little bit more to go. So the next thing we need to do is let's first check out what this looks like in CTC. We've got all our clues in. Let's see what this looks like. And look at how beautiful that is as a puzzle. Look at how easy it is to read the clues. Look at how we got positional information on the colors. It's quite good. It's quite entertaining for me. And now we do the next step. We want to make sure that solution checking works. See, conflict checking highlighting works right now. Let's see if conflict highlighting still works when we put in the solution. Let's see what happens. So we need to make sure it works. So we put in the solution. 8, 7, 5. So that's the solution. So now we can go and use the settings button, come down here to advanced, and we go new F puzzle solution link. And now we've got a new link that should have the solution checking enabled. First, let's see if conflict checking is still working. Ooh, let's see if the solution checker works now. And the solution checker works too. Conflict checker works, solution checker works. We have set a brand new puzzle in Penpa-style for CTC. That's a brilliant, beautiful thing. Look at how awesome that puzzle looks. That is gorgeous. I am in love. I am happy as a clam. Hopefully all of you are too. Hopefully all of you will join with me in creating some new Japanese sums that are a little more in-depth, because people don't have to worry about hating Penpa anymore to get Penpa-style positional information colored clues. We can now have much more heavily multicolored clues. Now, one thing I will note, you will notice about the red. The red's a little faded out. They do apply spend applies opacity to the colors, so they come out a little bit faded. They're not as bright as they would be, but otherwise this technique is fantastic. I am super happy with it. And so hopefully you will be too. And I'm glad you enjoyed this. I will leave the link to this puzzle in the description. Thanks, and we will see you later.